really an awful lot's been said about Michelle, who's next. And you know, Michelle is getting ready to come on. There she is. There's nothing more powerful than we know in this setting, more powerful than a real story, a real true life story. And Michelle Brennan-Jones tells her story so beautifully. Please welcome to the stage, Michelle Brennan-Jones.
Thank you, Gary. Good morning, everyone. It's such an honour to be here with you all this morning. And I'm wishing you all a fantastic, inspirational day with the amazing Dr Gabor Maté. I am so grateful to Suzanne and Pauline for their support and all the work that the Tigers and Connected Baby teams have done and continue to do to raise awareness and win hearts and minds around childhood adversity in Scottish society. They have constantly displayed dignity, integrity, and openness in their vision for us all to live in a country that is ACE-aware, trauma-informed, and relational-based. So, I'm going to begin by talking to you a little bit about my childhood, and then I'm going to explain how the knowledge of adverse childhood experiences has transformed my life, given me hope, and helped me on my healing journey. I was born and brought up not so far from here in a deprived scheme on the outskirts of Glasgow. I don't have many memories of those all-important first few years of life. In actual fact, I remember very little of my entire childhood. But what I do remember is how I felt. And my overriding feeling was that of fear. Fear that I would say the wrong thing. Fear that I'd make my parents angry and they would shout and be violent to me. Fear that I'd make my parents angry and they would shout and be violent to each other. Both of my main caregivers, my mum and my dad, relied on alcohol to manage their emotions, to manage their day-to-day life, to manage how they communicate to themselves and with each other and with me. This meant I didn't know from moment to moment, from second to second, what was going to happen. I didn't have an always available adult to go to help soothe me, to help me understand my big feelings, and to help me understand what it meant to feel safe and feel cherished. I didn't have someone to co-regulate with me and contain me. Sometimes, I think, what gives me the most pain is not so much what happened to me as a child, but more the things that didn't happen. I was never cuddled and reassured. I was never told I was loved, unless it was through drunken guilt for having been either the victim or observer of domestic violence. I was never listened to. I didn't have a voice. I never felt safe and lacked the vital, attuned connection to give me that all-important, secure base from which to start to explore this big world of ours. By the time I reached my teenage years, I had adapted, or maladaptive, coping strategies to try and keep me safe. I was hypervigilant. I was a people pleaser. I had no boundaries. I didn't know who to turn to for any advice. I didn't trust anyone. I didn't trust myself. I didn't love myself. I had no opportunity to get to know myself intrinsically, only in relation to trying to keep the people around me from hurting me. I began to drink, take drugs, and make friendships with young people from similar backgrounds to mine. We understood how it felt to parent our parents. So, I didn't feel safe at home, and I didn't feel safe at school, but I wanted to feel loved, and I wanted to feel needed, and so I became a teenage mum. It was at that point in my life I learned attunement through the eyes of my baby boy. And I learned how to love unconditionally, and I was able to realise the potential for relationships to heal, not to harm. I went back to school, I studied literature, I secured a dream job, but I still felt lost, and I still felt I didn't know myself. I felt ashamed that I relied on alcohol to sleep. I felt ashamed I relied on drugs to manage my sympathetic nervous system that was stuck on high alert, and I blamed myself for just not being strong enough, good enough, smart enough, just not being enough. And then I learned about ACEs. I discovered the biology of stress and the science of hope. I understood that the toxic stress that I carry with me every single day is something that isn't a personal failure on my part. I now understand that I numb my emotions and chose unhealthy ways to regulate my nervous system as a response to childhood adversity. I now understand not why the addiction, why the pain. In the words of our amazing guest, Dr Gabor Maté, the fact I've been able to build healthy relationships with my 3 sons stems from a deep need not to repeat the traumatic cycle that I lived through, that my parents lived through. I keep trying to understand and take responsibility as a parent to repair my ruptures. Understanding the effect of ACEs and the implications on health and well-being has given me the opportunity to have conversations with my 3 sons about intergenerational trauma. I have been able to shine a light and reflect on what it means to be emotionally connected and have a safe space to acknowledge and validate feelings. Whereas before, there was nowhere for emotions to go except to be pushed down and come out in alcoholic rages. Learning about ACEs has helped me to see the importance of my protective factors as a child. My love of reading and music were the buffers that gave me a creative escape. The science of ACEs has given me language, and that language has given me power. I can now go to my GP and tell her, I have a dysregulated stress response due to childhood adversity. I suffer from insomnia due to childhood adversity. She still doesn't understand. She still prescribes me antidepressants, anti-anxiety tablets, sleeping tablets. She still treats the symptoms. Well, not curious about the causes. There's no routine inquiry, but that's okay because I know the causes. Learning about ACEs has given me the ability to develop protocols to manage my dysregulated stress system. Self-care is something I know is essential to my healing. It is essential to help me understand who I am, my authentic self. I surround myself with healthy relationships, not the toxic ones of old. I think of Dr. Bruce Perry's words that relational health is more influential on health outcomes than adversity. ACEs are not actionable unless ongoing, but relational poverty is actionable. I run. I practice yoga and mindfulness. I attend therapy to explore my fear from a place of safety. I'm so grateful for this knowledge, and I'm so grateful for this agency. Recently, I was listening to a podcast with my favourite neuroscientist, Professor Andrew Huberman. He was talking to a doctor, Paul Conte, who said, happiness is agency plus gratitude. I now feel I have a voice, I have a choice, I'm good enough. I am grateful for the knowledge I've gained through my understanding of ACEs these past 6 years. It has played a crucial role in my healing journey. I haven't had any alcohol in 6 years. I haven't smoked. I've been a bit kinder to myself, but that's an ongoing project. And in the meantime, I'll be kind to others and build on that, as I know that it's in relationships that we can all heal and grow. Thank you.
The wonderful Michelle Brennan-Jones. And as I said, there's nothing more powerful than a true story, told so beautifully. Thank you so much for sharing that, Michelle.